tempat kita tinggal, sebuah planet berbentuk bola yang bergerak mengitari matahari. Ini adalah fakta yang telah diketahui umat manusia selama ratusan tahun. Bukti-bukti tak terbantahkan telah dikemukakan oleh para ilmuwan dari berbagai disiplin ilmu, bahkan terpampang di depan mata kita kalau saja kita mau berpikir. Namun belakangan kita dikejutkan oleh fenomena flat earth. Di abad ke-21 ini, ada sekumpulan orang-orang yang percaya bahwa bumi berbentuk datar. Mereka mengklaim memiliki fakta dan bukti-bukti yang mendukung keyakinan mereka. Bahkan mereka yakin bahwa penganut flat earth adalah kaum yang tercerahkan, kaum yang terbebas dari doktrin sains modern yang mereka tuduh penuh kebohongan. Di Indonesia sendiri, paham flat earth terutama disebarkan oleh serial video di YouTube berjudul Flat Earth 101 atau kita sebut saja FE 101. Sekilas, fakta-fakta dan argumen yang disampaikan dalam video tersebut sangat meyakinkan. Tak heran jika banyak orang yang mempercayainya, bahkan orang yang berpendidikan tinggi sekalipun. Padahal, jika kita mau sedikit berpikir kritis, meneliti dan mengcross-check informasi yang disampaikan, akan sangat mudah menemukan kebohongan di dalamnya. Manipulasi dan informasi sepotong-sepotong sehingga berubah dari maksud sumber aslinya. Video ini adalah bagian pertama dari serangkaian video untuk membantah FE 101. Pada bagian pertama ini kita akan tunjukkan
Looking down from 2 miles above the surface of the Earth, it's impossible not to be impressed by the sheer grandeur, splendor, and power of the natural world. But perhaps most impressive of all is just how very flat it is. No matter where you venture on this humble disk of ours, you will encounter flatness. From the arid sands of the Sahara Desert to the shimmering waters of the Palawan coast. Everywhere you look, guess what? It's flat. 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 Here we are at the ends of the Earth, Antarctica. Of course, while the flatness of our planet may be awe-inspiring, it presents many dangers for the natural world. While these penguins may look cute, in truth, they are some of the bravest creatures on Earth. They live in constant danger of wandering off the edge of the planet. Here is a curious lad. What were to happen if I jumped off the side of the planet, he wonders to himself. He makes the leap to find out. Sadly, this young flightless bird is now destined to fall forever through the endless recesses of space. Wherever he is going, we cannot follow. And yet even further away still, on Australia's Great Barrier Reef, we meet these young hatchlings. Every year, hundreds of sea turtles are born here and venture off into the water, but only a small handful return as fully grown adults. The reason is clear. They are cosmic beings whose flippers double as wings to propel them off the edge of the Earth, soaring into the great unknown. Farewell, space turtles. Perhaps one day you'll come back and share your space wisdom with us. Of course, some may continue to operate under the notion that the Earth is not flat, but in fact a rotating sphere. But creatures like this frog, this kangaroo, and even this grasshopper will happily tell you otherwise. For if the Earth was truly rotating underneath them, would they not land in a different spot from whence they jumped? Even we of the species Homo sapiens never forget that this flat Earth belongs to all of nature's creatures, from the tiny shrew to the colossal blue whale, and to the mutant lizard people who live in the hollow tunnels millions of miles below the Earth's surface, developing technology for our Illuminati overlords. We are all lucky to call this flat Earth our home. Join us next time when we explore the hollow Earth.
How deep is this? Scripture actually says the nature of the earth looks like. And what I mean by Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper. And in this video, I'm going to cover what the Scripture actually says the nature of the earth looks like. And what I mean by that is, do we live inside a hollow earth? Do we live under a dome on a convex or concave earth? Do we live on a flat earth? Or do we live on a globe? The Scripture lays it out very plain. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to lay this topic to rest for all parties, looking at it from Scripture only. Now, if you're a science, if you worship and go to the church and worship center of religion of science, I can't help you. If you are a scriptural believing, honest-hearted person who wants to honor Master Yahweh, believe on His Torah, keep His commandments, accept His Son, and walk in that path, then I can help you today. Alright, so with that said, and even for the non-believer, this may be the day of the wake-up call. So what we're going to do is we're going to take each one of these types of earth models, and I'm going to either put an X or a check mark in the blocks below. Now when I'm done, only one of these is going to have nothing but green check marks, and one of these is going to have nothing but X. Alright, and we're going to do this based off of what the Scripture said. Now, as that I always like to keep things in perspective for everyone, and also keep you counter-researching this with other flat earthers, I'm going to go over to Rob Skiba's website in just a minute, because he has a great page that is a collection of all the scriptures together for the most part. But now what I want to share with you is something I sent over to him recently, and I hope he does share on his website here in the near future. It's a passage out of 2nd Ezra chapter 16. Not only does it talk about Babylon, Asia, Egypt, and Damascus being a wasteland, then the great day will be coming to pass. What I like to say is the heralding of the great day of Yah, because it says it's the beginning of sorrows. But as you get on further down, verse 54 to 64 says something very interesting. It says, "Behold, Yahweh knoweth," it says the Lord, but I always say Yahweh. I'm going to put back the holy words as they should be, so just bear with me. "Behold, Yahweh knoweth all the works of men, their imaginations, their thoughts, and their hearts, which spake but the word, Let the earth be made, and it was made. Let the heaven be made, and it was created. In His word were the stars made, and He knoweth the number of them. He searcheth the deep, and the treasures thereof. He hath made measured the sea, and what it containeth. He hath shut the sea in the midst of the waters, and with His word hath He hanged the earth upon the waters. He spreadeth out the heavens like a vault, upon the waters hath He founded it. In the desert hath He made springs of waters and pools upon the tops of the mountains, that the floods might pour down from the high rocks to water the earth. He made man, and put his heart in the midst of the body, and gave him breath, life, and understanding. Yea, in the spirit of Almighty Elohim made all things, and searches out all hidden things in the secrets of the earth. Surely He knoweth your inventions, and what ye think in your hearts, even that them that sin and would hide their sin. Therefore hath Yahweh exactly searched out all your works, and He will put you all to shame." We should all consider ourselves liars, and only Master Yahweh is the only one that knoweth all things and holy. Because with that said, only He can tell you the height, the breadth, and the depth of the world.
Does the Bible...
But the Scripture is very plain as to the details of what it looks like. So let's begin that journey now with that scripture in mind. If you go over to testingtheglobe.com and /Bible.html, it'll take you directly to it. You can check the link below. As we look at the scriptures, I'm going to pull some highlights out of this, and I encourage you to read across the whole thing. But right here, this is scripture. Rob broke this down in some great groups. Excuse me. And the first one is the nature of the heavens, sky above, and their relationship to the earth. So we're going to be looking at the firmament at this moment, okay? Some of it. So it says, He spreadeth out the heavens, okay? It says right here, clouds veil him so that he cannot see, and as he walks on the circle of the sky. And just pull out some of these highlights. I want you to look over all these, but it says, spread out the sky which is strong and as a molten looking glass. We're going to go through these, then we're going to review and go over in a minute and see what these match up with. All right, Genesis 1 says, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And Elohim made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. See, now the windows of the heavens were open in the days of Noah's flood, so there was water above this earth that we're living on, and water under it with us. Okay, and we also just read from 2nd Esdras chapter 16 about that. All right, and Elohim called the firmament heaven. So we don't need to get things confused. It's literally water above the heavens. If the firmament's heaven, there is water above the heavens above us, okay? So that makes sense in Noah's day when water came down from the heavens above and it came up from below. Because we just read in 2nd Esdras 16 also that the earth is stretched over the water. So there's water obviously below us too. Moving forward, it says here, who stretches out the heaven like a curtain. That's Psalms 104. Proverbs 8:27, he established the heavens. I was there when he inscribed a circle on the face of the deep. I believe that proverb also speaks of Messiah being there watching him create this. Isaiah 40:22, it is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants therefore are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heaven as a curtain and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. Now keep that in mind too, because tents have 4 corners. That's pretty interesting right there to keep in thought. 44, Isaiah, and 24th verse, right here as you're reading through, it says, I am Yahweh that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself. Moving forward, or stretching out the heavens again by his command, laid the foundation of the earth. My right hand hath spanned the heavens. The heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Right here, and above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne. Moving further down, the heavens and the foundations, his vaulted dome over the earth. He who calls for the waters and the seas and pours them out on the face of the earth. All right, so that's what's above. All right, now we're going to stop for just a minute. We're going to go over, we're going to compare some of these with this. All right, for it to be spread as a tent, the globe makes no sense, okay, because there's not waters above this and there's not waters below it. You know, now you can't say atmosphere. We're not talking about pulling water out of there. We're talking about literal waters above, okay? So we've got to give an X to the globe, boys. Sorry, guys. It's just, that's a no-go. Oops, I got to get me an X over here where I can make an X. All right, so that's a no. Man, need that thicker too so we can see what we're doing here. Sorry, guys. So we've got an X. All right, now moving over, we see here that this is a concave earth, and it is a circle with a dome above, okay? So we can't really give a X to that because now everything we've read so far pretty much puts this as a possible scenario. And this one here as well, the flat earth azimuthal equidistant map, which keep in mind as that I displayed this, it is to be taken as there's a dome above it as well. I just gave you an overhead view because I'm going to get into this ice in a minute around it a little deeper out. Just a point I wanted to bring up further in the video, but the only difference is where this is concave here or convex. So this actually... these both right here actually get a check. Terrible at drawing my checks. All right, so Really picky about that, guys. All right. And over here, we get an X because that is not going to fly in no manner whatsoever on hollow Earth. All right, so we've obviously got two that's a no-go on that. Now, moving forward, we've got scriptures concerning the nature of the earth below the firmament. Okay. Now, in this context here, it says, Job 9:6, which shaketh the earth out of her place, and the pillars thereof tremble. Job 26:7, and he stretcheth out the north over the empty place, and hangeth the earth upon nothing. He hath compassed the waters with bounds. Okay, now this is interesting because all of a sudden somebody might say the earth's up on nothing. That can go for a globe, but right here we already eliminate it because the waters are with bounds. And to the ends of the earth, a globe does not have ends, so we're going to have to put an X up there on that in just a minute. But moving on, it says, he directed it under the whole heaven, and his lightning unto the ends of the earth. Okay, so it has to have ends. So hollow earth's definitely getting crushed on this one as we're moving forward. Then Yahweh answered Job out of the whirlwind, and he said, moving down to verse 4, where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Whereupon are the foundations therefore fastened? Who laid the cornerstone thereof? Now, a corner can be found in a tent, in a four corner, but you can't find that on a ball, hollow earth, or etc. Job 38:13, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth. Okay, moving on. Genesis 1, and Elohim said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, is verse 9. And let the dry land appear. And Elohim called the dry land earth, and he gathered together all the waters he called seas. All right, moving forward. For the pillars of the earth are Yahweh's, and he has set the world upon him. That's 1 Samuel 2:8. 2 Samuel 22:16. The foundations of the world were discovered. 1 Chronicles 16:30. The world also shall be stable, that it be not moved. Now, that right there is going to be a no-go for the globalists. Sorry, guys, to break that down for you, but the Earth, as NASA explains that they show on the globe, is constantly moving, so that just check that out again. Psalm 18:15, then the channels of the waters were seen, and the foundations of the world were discovered. All right, moving forward. The earth and all the inhabitants thereof are dissolved. I bear up the pillars of it. Psalms 93:1. Elohim reigneth, he is clothed with majesty. Yahweh is clothed with strength, wherewith he hath girded himself. The world also established that it cannot be moved. Moving forward, the world also shall be established that it shall not be moved. Psalm 102:25 laid the foundation of the earth. Furthermore, here in Psalm 104, foundation of the earth, the water stood above the mountains. Here we go, right here in verse 9. Thou hast set a bound that they may not pass over, that they turn not again to cover the earth. Psalms 136 to him that stretcheth out the earth above the waters. Moving on, set a compass upon the face of the depth. He appointed the foundations of the earth. Let's move on down here. You can read some more of these. Right here, 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth. 4 corners of the earth. All right, so we're gonna come right down here. We're gonna pause for a minute. All right. Now, in a minute, we'll be going to the nature of the sun, moon, and stars on that. Well, if we pull up the Earth models here and look at it, this one here does not have a foundation. Okay, can't find foundation inside of that, because they say that pretty much it's a molten core, and that to me doesn't qualify for a foundation. It has to be able to be something that you can set up on something. So this one here, the flat Earth azimuthal equidistant map, which also keep in mind is got a dome over it. We're just looking at it overhead at the moment. This one here, both of those qualify. Okay, over here, moving over to the hollow earth, you cannot have a foundation for that because the world is suspended within the hollow model, so it actually doesn't set up on anything. It's actually contained inside of something that's inverted. So that's an X on that. So these two can continue to go forward. Okay? All right. So, moving on now, we have Genesis 1. And Elohim said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven, to divide the day from the night. Let them be for signs, for seasons, for days, and for years. Moving on, let them be for lights in the firmament. In the firmament, multiple verses there, in the firmament. The heavens declare the glory of Elohim, the firmament showeth his handiwork. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is a bridegroom coming out of his chamber. His going forth is from the end of heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it. To him that made great lights. Let's move on here. Joshua 10:13. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed. Isaiah 13 and 10. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. Isaiah 38 and 8. That's talking about whenever Hezekiah was about to die. He wanted a sign from Isaiah, so he thought it was a small thing for the sun to move forward, so it went backward 10 degrees on the sundial. The sun and moon stood still in their habitation. All right, so that's moving on. All right, so let's look at our models again. Now, the hollow earth, there is a possibility that the sun and moon can pause in place, but the problem with this is inside the firmament is inside of the hollow earth, so you can't, it's not covering the earth as it's supposed to and then have them in it. So at that point, that's another X. Okay, now the concave earth, very, very possible. All those classifications meet that perfectly. And the completely flat azimuthal equidistant map, that's fine as well. Over here for the globe, it does not hash out at all, because that, for one, we're supposed to be orbiting the sun, and the moon orbiting us, and we're moving through space at X amount of miles, and we're X amount of million miles away from the sun, and blah, 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 blah. And none of that meets the classifications that Scripture defines. So these are out of the game. Okay, there's nothing more we need to learn from this, because 3 strikes are out. Well, 1 strike should be enough from a scriptural perspective, but we went 3 strikes and you're out. So we have these 2 models left. Now the only difference is the depth here. There is a depth drop before you come up to the ice wall. Now the problem with this is then you need the word gravity for water to go up, to stay within that bound like that. Now the Scripture does say that there is bound set. We've reviewed this. So what we have to do now is we have to observe what the Scripture says about the waters. Now here's the situation where you arrive at with the water. If you look at this simple little illustration given right here, put together, shared on Rob's site, you can lay the concave earth to rest with just a couple things from Scripture. First, I would take into the fact that there was waters above the firmament and the waters below. Now, water always finds level. Now, people might say, well, if you go a really long distance, Luke, you can have some bend to it over thousands of miles. Now, look, folks, I'm not going down that road, because when you start going down that road, you start getting into the same path that you do with the globalists not seeing things. So let's use common sense for a minute. Is that when the world was flooded, all the waters that came into the firmament, through the firmament, into the world, under the earth, under the dome, filled up the earth until all the people were wiped out. And then the waters receded and have leveled out where they are today. Now, the world there's boundaries. There's a circle inscribed, and I'm going to go back to our maps. There's this circle inscribed around us. Now, any swimming pool, any glass of water, anything you get, you fill it up. It doesn't curve up and then down and so on. It doesn't work like that. It finds level. And the only map that using the right path, which is looking at nature given to us by the Most High, and looking at it based on Scripture up to the final point where that all that is left is the final defining feature is the water layout. Really, at that point, one doesn't have to look too far. The really only answer to that is that it's level, and the Earth is obviously flat. Whenever, all these weather balloons and all these other things that people are starting to get out there and show and demonstrate very quickly that the world is as it is, and the sun and moon are very close to the Earth, and that it's flat. Well, then it should resonate to you that the waters below also are flat. And gravity, we don't even need to get into gravity and none of that other stuff. So actually, at the end of the day, the only one that honestly meets all the requisites of Scripture is the flat earth. Okay, now one other thing I want to add to this is people do not show enough ice out from this, because the explorers that have been there and have seen the depth of it know that it's extremely deep. Furthermore, a tent is spread four corners, so obviously there's going to be places that there's more ice. And if you notice where the continents are, it actually would make good sense to do that so that anyone daring enough to go to the edge would not be able to get all the way to the end and touch the firmament. Hence why that Nimrod tried to build a tower into the heavens to get up to Master Yahweh. Now, I encourage you to see it and study all the Scripture that there is to the flat earth and to what the firmament is described and the stars above. These things, our world is an enclosed system. And one of the best examples shown to date, see right here is one of those concave earths right there. That's just not correct, ladies and gentlemen. What is accurate is this is a great accurate representation right here that Rob Skiba has shown, and that is the world that you live in right there. I just disagree on the depth of the dome. I believe it's much further out, and the ice goes further out to the wall. But on the four corners of the world, that is what our world looks like, that we live upon. And I encourage you to read the Scripture. I encourage you to put away the lies that NASA have told you and get back to the foundations of the old past, because this is the greatest proof of a divine creator I've ever seen. Had I not believed in the Most High when I came to this knowledge, I am still in awe, in reverence to His awesomeness in the world that He has created, because it screams divine creation. And all glory and honor be unto Master Yahweh. And hope that's a help to you guys. I just really wanted to lay this to rest, because some for the world we live in, the Scripture is very plain. It's a flat plane. The waters are in bounds. We have a firmament over us. The stars, the sun, moon, and the stars are all contained underneath it. And there was a lot of water above us at one point, but after the flood, I imagine a lot of that has been let down into us. And I could go into that so much detail over why I believe that's why that a lot of things are not the way they were before the flood, because the conditions for growing and the conditions of sustainability of health and everything have just changed because of the atmosphere differences. But anyway, that's another topic for another time. I hope this is a help to you. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. Until we see you again here at Seven Trumpets Prepper Channel, keep the faith, and I hope you have a most blessed day in Yahushua's name.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video here at my channel, Jesus Truth. Thank you very much for stopping by. So, it's been about 6 months since I've made a video, and there are many reasons for this. Of course, work and trying to pay bills like the rest of the world, but mainly I felt that I was done doing videos on comparative religion. I felt that I did my best getting the truth out there regarding all these deceptive false religions. And I have prayed many times that these videos have and will help as many people as possible to see through all of Satan's lies and to see that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. But now I'm back, and this new topic that I'm going to talk about in this video and in many more videos to come is the biggest deception, let me repeat that, the biggest deception that the world has ever seen. I hope you are sitting down for this because this topic is absolutely mind-boggling. So you're looking at the title of this video,